Hello, everyone, and we're happy to have you here for the introduction to the impl days. I'll keep it short and sweet because this is mainly an instructional video. The impl days are an attempt, or this time the online impl days, to turn the classic Rust impl days hackfest into an online thing. We've come up with a solution, especially around how projects find each other, and we're going to try this out, and I'm quickly going to walk you through it again. If you have any kind of questions, please go to oxidizeconf/impl days. You will find the link on the website in the navigation. And the main part of our coordination is the so-called living document, which James will walk you through in a second. And the other part is our chat. So we have used the matrix chat from OxidizeConf or from Berliners during the last day. So a lot of discussions have already happened there. We highly recommend you, as a first thing, to join the general chat. Because that's, especially where I'm going to hang around, that's the most important thing. If you ever get lost, try to reach me either by pinging me on that chat or on any kind of other platform where you find me. My nickname is Skade, S-K-A-D-E. You can also find me on all the Rust other chats that you may be in. And the other big platform is the platform of the Rust Embedded Working Group. And if you scroll down a little on github.com/rustembedded/WG, the first thing that or one of the first links you find is join the discussion on Matrix, Rust Embedded, matrix.org. That's the main channel of the Embedded Working Group. And if you want to continue any kind of embedded collaboration in the Rust ecosystem, it's never wrong to join this channel. Also, if you already got, if you're already using Matrix, for example, because you linked in yesterday, you can also find this channel by going on this little hidden button over here, the Explore Rooms next to the search bar. And if you click it, you can switch Matrix Rooms to matrix.org and search for Rust-Embedded. And you will find a join link here if you haven't joined it already, similar to this one. So you can have both chats open in the same application. So, and if you have a project, please go to the living document and put it in there. You need to be logged into HackMD for spam protection there. But other than that, it's freely, it's a collaborative document and freely editable. And just copy one of the already existing introductions. They're really good. If you are a project maintainer, please make sure that the contact details that you're giving will ping you in some way, because like give you a notification on your smartphone or something like that, because that allows you to walk around. We're a global hackfest, so people might wake up or join the hackfest at different times. So it is important that you don't need to sit around in front of the computer for the day to wait for people, and making sure that notifications go loud and you make sure that you know when people are ready and are interested in your project, and letting you freely take care of whatever you wanted to do elsewhere in the day. Thank you for making yourself available, especially to project maintainers, and also thank you for everyone who already expressed interest yesterday to pick up some of the things that were talked about. And now James is going to walk you through that living document.
All right. Hey, everyone. Good morning. I guess it's already technically afternoon in Berlin, but, you know, it's still morning somewhere. But yeah, I want to walk through. This is the HackMD that Florian mentioned. Over the last 24 hours or so, people have been very busy adding their projects. So I want to showcase some of the ones that are already there, and we'll come back and showcase some more of these at some point in the future. So the first project is GD32V and ProBarS equals love. So the goal is to add support for the GD32 VF103 RISC-V chips in ProBarS. So the GD32V chips are a RISC-V chip that's very similar to an STM32F103. If you have one of these chips because you've ordered it for a dev board, you'd be a great person to help out with this, but I'm sure people will need help even without the hardware. The goal is to make sure that ProbeRS has full support for this. As the project mentions, sometimes you need to use a custom OpenOCD fork, and that's kind of not great. So the goal is to add upstream support to ProbeRS to make sure that it's supported. This group is going to be coordinating on Matrix, and the main contact person is disasm-ewg on matrix.org. So you'll probably need a GD32V based board, such as the Longan Nano, the GD32VF103C Start, or others, and some kind of compatible probe, such as an FTDI based one or a CMSys DAP based one. They're going to be adding support for FTDI based adapters and support for JTAG interfaces. So definitely make sure if you have that hardware that you can join. But if you're just interested in helping out with some Rust knowledge and doing code review and things like that, you still likely could be helpful here. But definitely if you have some of this hardware, it would be great for you to be able to join that. Our second project is to add ITM support for ProbeRS. So ITM is somewhat supported in ProbeRS, but I know the ProbeRS devs are looking to flesh that out. They're also looking to add support for ITM in CMSys DAP and JLink possibly. So ITM is a protocol that's used for high speed and high performance tracing for microcontrollers. It's similar to RTT, but requires even less support from the CPU. So it's a great way to do real-time tracing and things like that, or even logging. So this is going on all weekend. This group is also going to be coordinating on Matrix, and there are three main collaborators. We've got Yateki, or Noah from the talks yesterday, Adam Grieg on Matrix.org, who's also a member of the embedded working group and a ProbeRS dev, and Brian Cantrell from Oxide Computers. So definitely make sure you reach out to one of these three folks, and they would love to have your help getting ITM supported in ProbeRS. So I don't think it's mentioned, but it'd probably be great if you had some kind of embedded microcontroller, a dev board that does break out I believe you need the SWO line for ITM, and a probe that does support that. So you'll need something that does support an SWO line. I don't think the ST-Link adapters do, but most J-Links and most DAP links do. Definitely, if you're not sure if you have hardware that supports this, reach out to the ProbeRS folks or these three contacts here, and they'll make sure that they can see if you have something that will help. Otherwise, definitely you can probably help with the Rust support. ProbeRS is also looking to fix various issues, so definitely make sure you check out the open issues on ProbeRS and pick one that supports you best. There's ones that require hardware and ones that don't. So definitely feel free to browse through those. And if you need help or mentoring or shepherding for any of those tasks, reach out on those issues. So Yateki or Noah from the talks yesterday are your primary contact there. But definitely the coordination is going to be around the issue tracker, and then come chat in Matrix to coordinate around that. We have even more ProbeRS projects. So there's a lot of people interested in helping out with ProbeRS, or ProbeRS is looking for a lot of help. So ProbeRS is looking for help adding to their docs. So if you're not super comfortable with the hardware or the software, there's definitely a lot of room in improving the documentation. Writing guides, fixing the docs, things like that are definitely things that could be helped with. So the Rust docs could use some help, and writing the guides and things like that could be helped. So Ferris did, as part of our workshops, write a troubleshooting guide. And I know the ProbeRS folks would love to have it, and Ferris would love to share that. So if you're looking at porting some of the guides that we wrote for our trainings and upstreaming them into the main ProbeRS documentation so that everyone can benefit from those, Ferris and ProbeRS would love to make that exchange. So if you're looking for something straightforward, this is as easy as porting it from our what do we use? MD book to the main ProbeRS docs, and that would be really useful for a lot of people. So again, your contact is going to be Yateki on Matrix, and definitely reach out to that. Our next group is adding microchip atmel EDBG and SAM-E support to ProbeRS. So the goal is to enable ProbeRS for the AT-SAM line of MCUs. They need to support for the atmel embedded debugger that comes with many of these boards. The debugger is based on CMSys DAP, but uses a non-standard report size, as well as possibly other differences that need to be ironed out. We'll be adding target support for AT-SAM D5 and ATSAM E5X as a start. So this is primarily going on Sunday. Your contact for this is actually jgust, matrix.org. This is Julius. So definitely reach out to Julius, who's interested in that. And I know there were some other people interested in more extended atmel support. So if you have some atmel parts, particularly the ATSAM D or ATSAM E5X boards, definitely reach out, because I think those have non-standard debuggers on there, and we would love for ProBRS to grow support for those somewhat non-standard debuggers. So the next group is creating embedded Rust for hobbyist, codename Patina. So I think this came out of one of the talks yesterday, Tristan's speaker chat. So the goal is to implement some of the ideas that Tristan proposed in the chat yesterday. So the goal is to find low-hanging fruit to make sure that we can make embedded Rust easier for brand new beginners to get into. So they'll be coordinating. Your main contact there is TL8 at matrix.org. There is a Tristan speaker chat on the Oxidize chat and on GitHub. And we do have a coordination Google Doc and a coordination GitHub repo. So definitely check those out. I think someone's adding notes. They'll fix the syntax shortly, so it's a clickable link. Ollie is looking to show the effect of multiple optimization passes to generate diffs for the mirror after applying multiple optimization passes. Right now, you can only generate the diff of a single path or the state, a single pass, or the state before after a single pass. So there's no way to auto-generate a diff between multiple passes or multiple passes. We'll fix that quickly. So it looks like Ollie's mostly going to be online from 9 to 15 Central European on Monday. But feel free to ping Ollie on Matrix or the Rustlang Zulip chat. And I think Ollie Abke is the same name on both of those. But if you're looking for more details, definitely check out this README. I think it has some instructions for that, and I think people are going to be working on that. Also, there was some interest in the chat yesterday of being able to visualize the effect of an optimization pass as a graphviz graph. This allows you to generate a graphviz plot of what these changes are, which can be really useful for, at a very high level, visualizing the effects of this passes. Humans are usually really great at visualization, and once code gets too long or diffs get too long, having a useful visualization really helps people objectively look at these. So the goal is to generate a graphviz graph that contains red and green parts showing where basic blocks and edges were removed by certain optimizations and which ones were added. So again, the main coordination is going to be 9 to 15 CET Monday. I think it's probably CEST, but time zones are hard. But again, Ollie Abke is going to be your contact person here, and you can coordinate on Matrix or the Rustlang Zulip. There's some even handy details on how to generate that today. So I know Florian is going to be coordinating goals to get a no standard version of Async H1, which is a no standard version, or to add no standard support to the Async H1, which is an HTTP parser and handler. The goal is to add async HTTP support in environments without a heap. And Async H1 can change that. It would be really great to have an embedded system that could use Async H1 and small TCP and have an entire HTTP and TCP stack on almost any microcontroller with an Ethernet port. So the coordination is kind of all of the embedded days during daytime, Berlin time. Feel free to coordinate in the Berlin RS matrix or on Discord. I believe that's the async standard Discord. Your contact is going to be Florian, and there's some links to the Async H1 project and the Discord chat for the Async Standard Discord. So the next project that could use help on impl days is Neotron. So you might have heard of Monotron. So I know Jonathan Pallant has given a number of talks all over the world about Monotron, but he's working on the next generation of this, Neotron. So the goal is to have a family of open source PCBs which all run the same OS, the Neotron OS. And the OS is pretty bare bones. Think early versions of MS-DOS. The goal is to be supporting any ARM Cortex-M4 or higher MCUs and the Neotron BIOS. The Neotron BIOS is the hardware abstraction layer and provides a C foreign function interface API for the OS to use, much like the IBM PC BIOS and the CPM BIOS. Provides simple APIs for MS-DOS and CPM respectively to use. So there's a link to github.com/Neotron compute, and the developers hang out in the Neotron chat on Matrix, which is available at Neotron on the matrix.org. So there's a link here if you're using the Element app, or formerly Riot. If you want to reach out to JP will be around from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. British summertime, or 11 o'clock UTC to 1800 UTC. The goal is to add an embedded FAT32 or SD card library. So there's already a library for this, and the goal is to integrate this into the Neotron OS, to add USB host support. So a lot of devices support USB device, but the goal would be to add a USB host driver that allows you to plug in a USB keyboard or a USB flash drive. So the goal for this would be to port some C examples into Rust. Porting the BIOS to other chips. So the BIOS is in a very early state, and the goal would be to port this to other chips. And there's a PC keyboard driver support. It doesn't handle the lowest layer of communication with a keyboard, so PS2 or USB. Instead, it handles the scan codes that keyboards generate and converts them to Unicode characters or key events. It supports QWERTY UK and US keyboard, and there's a PR for AZERTY keyboards if you're in France or some of the other areas that use AZERTY. But it would be great to see some more. So these are all the projects that we have on the document today. Feel free to add them throughout the day, and we'll do our best to promote them. But definitely check this out on HackMD, and we'll try and keep everyone coordinated and connected to each other. So I'll hand it back to you, Florian.
Add me by Mike, sorry. Yeah, thank you all for that. I've already seen there's already some discussion around. As I said, if there's any kind of problems, try to reach me, and I will do my best to resolve them, reach out to the maintainers, trying to figure out where they are, because we both know a lot of these people personally. So if there's anything stuck, or we're good people to get things unstuck for you, that's our job for the next 2 days, so that you can have a happy hacking session on this nice Sunday.
All right, everyone, have a great time. If anyone has questions, feel free to point them to this YouTube video. We'll end the stream here, but we'll leave this video public, so anyone can go and watch this if they're trying to get caught up on what the impl days are. So feel free to point them to this YouTube video, and we'll see you all in the chat. Have a great impl day.